Three takeaways from Atlanta United's 4-3 win over New York City FC here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Sitting in Henry with you. Henry Higuita, have you caught your breath yet?
Barely, man. That was heart attack. I mean, I was not expecting that kind of finish. Glimmers of San Jose 2018, maybe.
Yeah.
Not quite as crazy as that game where it was like 4-2 San Jose, and then it was 4-3 Atlanta somehow. Oh, man, just a crazy game, but glad that they could pull the result through.
One of the craziest games in this building, definitely, right?
For sure. I think, without a doubt, it has to be top three just wildest games that they've had. Definitely, oddly enough, San Jose 2023 was probably another one of those. But no, this was a heart attack for sure.
No, definitely. And they kind of joked, have we caught our breath? I'm not sure we have yet. So we'll work on that as we go through these three takeaways. Takeaway number one, let's start with the bad, Henry, first, because if you look at the 3 goals that Atlanta has scored, and I promise we'll get to the good later on because there's a lot of good from this one. You look at the 3 goals, again, preventable. Williams, a terrible touch on a throw-in that leads to Hannes Wolf scoring for NYCFC. Williams, again, kind of got caught flat-footed, got beaten on an NYC attack. Lennon has to come in, commit a foul, penalty, Alonso Martinez scores. And then Dam Chong-ki, touch in the box, he'll learn, but it's a goal for NYC. So, again, very preventable goals for Atlanta United, a trend that we've been seeing all this season.
It's a lot of individual mistakes, and it's stuff that it isn't new. We've seen it in several of the past few games, and very nearly cost the game here. I think by the time they conceded that 3rd goal, I was about ready to just wrap it up because it was bad. Like it's 3 goals, and it's just infuriating because it's not that this team was getting outplayed; it's that they were outplaying themselves. Like they were shooting themselves in the foot. And how many times have we said that phrase here? I feel for both Derek and for Dom, and I think especially for Dom, because this was his occasion. I mean, he had to step in. He even said it. He was like, okay, well, literally like 20 minutes before the game was going to start, he was notified that he'd be starting because Pedro Amador sustained a quad injury during warmups, which, by the way, Dyla said it shouldn't keep him out too long, but that's a thing that happened. And then you have a 17-year-old starting his first MLS game. And, the pressure's on. And unfortunately, this game, I mean, it just wasn't his best game. But I will say he was better in preseason. He's shown that he can be a better player. I think he just needs to kind of develop a little bit more, mature a little bit more. He said this was a huge learning experience for him. He learned that, you got to pick your head up and you got to do a little bit better. But he feels overall happy with, aside from the mistake, he feels overall happy with the rest of his performance.
Yeah, and credit to Guzan in that moment, the goal was scored. I mean, if that had been Amador or if that had been Lennon, he'd be like ripping them to shreds. But credit to Guzan for his restraint in that moment, realizing, hey, he's young, he'll learn from it. It's a mistake. It added insult to injury to what was a really poor start of the second half for Atlanta United, but ultimately, in the end, they still win, even though there are mistakes. And hopefully this team, sooner rather than later, can take care of those mistakes. Takeaway number 2. You were right. Let's give credit to credit was due. Henry Higuita, future Atlanta United assistant head coach. Those substitutions where Mateus Clique was taken off, Dom Chong-ki was taken off. We saw Chande Silva come in on the left, Saba on the right, Miggy at the midfield, Miranchuk at the 8 in place of Clique. And it was night and day. It's like 2 different teams when those substitutions took place. Credit to Ronnie Dyler for making those adjustments that needed to be made. And ultimately, Atlanta United salvaged a win where for about, I want to say 60 minutes, they looked terrible. But it's the 30 minutes that they were good that ultimately counted for them.
Yeah, I'm going to take my little victory lap here. I did write an article midweek, 1,500 words on why Alexei Miranchuk could work as a number 6 and why exactly those tactical changes could elevate this team a little bit. And the crux of that was that Miranchuk, he can be very good at advancing the ball. He's not a bad player, and today he got his goal, and that shows it. He was much better
Really
in this
well
game.
worked goal too.
Really well worked goal. But I think what he can do, and Ronnie Dyla said it best in the press conference. He called him a maestro. Moving him into that midfield role made him a maestro because he was able to pull the strings from a little bit deeper. He was able to create some better distribution for this team. His long and short passing was just great. He could find, for example, Saba or Shande Silva on the wings, create those switches of play that really this team wants to create. That's what they want to do. And they do it much better when Alexi is in that deep role and he can ping those balls to them. So that is part of that reason. But also, Saba on the right had to happen from the beginning of this game.
Yeah.
From the moment you saw against FC Cincinnati that he was much more dangerous. I mean, the difference was night and day. And in this game, you even saw it. You saw Saba on the left. He just wasn't as threatening. You had several kind of errant crosses going to no one. He wasn't really impacting the game. He moved to the right, and he's immediately a whole different animal. Forces another own goal, and he's just more active. And then the biggest part of this is Miguel Almiron moving to the number 10. Now, we talked to him in the locker room after the game, and literally he told us, like, yeah, I feel better at the number 10. Michael Parkhurst on Twitter even agreed. He said, this guy has to play centrally.
Because Parkhurst knows what he's talking about.
And he knows what he's talking about.
He
played with him before. I believe they won an MLS Cup together.
That's what I hear.
So he has experience. He knows what he's talking about. And really, you see it. Yes, he's super creative. He has the skills. He knows how to pull the strings in there. And when you have Alexei Miranchuk feeding him balls the way that he can, it just changes his team entirely. And they made those tactical adjustments, 3 goals, and they win the game. So, yeah, again, I take my little victory lap. And Ronnie Dyla said, you know what, we might see this going forward a little bit more. After all, if these do end up being these players' best positions, why change from that?
He'd be foolish to change it if, this is what works. So he said in the press conference, we'll see. But, I mean, he'd be a fool to not take advantage of this moment. just being honest. But what did I know? What do we know? We're just sitting up here in the press conference watching from afar.
Next time I charge for my advice.
Yeah, exactly. Takeaway number 3, just the win itself. This is hopefully a kind of win that can buoy this team throughout the remainder of the season. This is the first, of course, of 3 matches here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So you need to make this place a fortress. We've talked about this so many times. You come in winless in your last 4. You're kind of questioning, hey, what's going on? Can we get things working sooner rather than later? We don't want to fall further and further back in the standings. So you come away with just a tremendous win, a win that really you had no business getting for the reasons we just talked about. This team needs to put it together for 90 minutes. Part of that is on Dyla to put these players in the position to succeed. But these players need to take ownership. They need to perform. They need to score. They need to be better defensively. And not all of that is on Dyla, but tonight hopefully is a turning point for this team and hopefully showcases moving forward the best of what this team can do.
I think, again, you saw how this team works best and seeing the players in the positions that they can better impact the game. And so I think seeing that, again, like you said, I mean, don't fix what's not broken. And I think if you found that, you got to bring that in the next few games. And look, this is game 1 of a 3-game homestand, one that we've been talking about a lot as a very crucial 3-game homestand. You want 9 points out of these games because later on, you're going to have tons of away games. In fact, after this stretch, you have 2 tough away games to Orlando and Philadelphia, who are among the top teams in the East right now. You need the points that you can get at home against teams that, frankly, aren't as good as some of the rest of the competition that you're going to be going up against.
New England?
New England, especially, even though they did win today.
Dallas.
They beat Red Bulls.
Yeah.
And then Dallas, I think they might have won today also. But getting back to the main topic, this win, they need to use that as a morale booster. You need to use it as kind of a springboard to take you through these next few games. Because now you know that you can win. Now you know that the goals can come. You scored 4 in this game. That's what this team wants to do. Now what you have to do is work on a little bit the mentality, a little bit on trying to focus on those kind of individual mistakes and try to minimize that a little bit, because if this team didn't make those silly mistakes, it would have been a 4-0 win. Think about that. And so I feel encouraged seeing that they, first of all, they had the fortitude to come back from 2 goals down without really that much time, and that they were able to score those 4 goals to start this 3-game homestand. And they need to carry that into the next few games. If you get 9 points from these 3 games, you already have 3. Get 6 more from the next 2. Suddenly, you're right back in the mix of things.
I'm ready to go to bed after this one. It took a lot out of me.
Yeah, I'm still, that was, I still can't believe that they pulled it off, because and I'll add this. It seemed before that this team could just lose the games, even though they had the momentum going for them. And it felt like they just could never hold on to leads. So the fact that they were able to see this one through, that is a huge credit to them. I think things are moving in the right direction. Just got to fine tune some things, but I think things are going to get better from here.
Through the final here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta United stuns NYCFC. Back with you tomorrow night, Sunday night, with our match recap show live on YouTube, Facebook, X, all that good stuff. Guardsandspikes.com for red content all throughout the weekend and throughout the week leading up to FC Dallas. See you next time.